And they said, "Why did you start a podcast in the first place?"
That's a good question.
Why did I start to pay? I started the podcast, or we started the podcast. Well, personally, me was I love talking. I talk
Mhm.
to everyone. I'm a social butterfly. I love having conversations. I want to have conversations that sometimes people don't want to have.
Yeah,
It's not like I'm trying to provoke people into debate, but I like debating.
me too.
I like, bringing up subjects that sometimes people don't want to talk about or are afraid to talk about. And it's like, what better way than to record it and put it on the internet?
That's almost every conversation that's even close to hot button these days. Nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
Nothing about politics. You can't talk about politics, religion, anything like that. Anything that matters
Mhm.
basically is off limits these days.
Well, I hate when people say that. You shouldn't talk about money, religion, or politics. I'm like, well, what else is there to talk about?
Who came up with that one?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Government would be great. They started the stigma in their population.
My
Don't
mother
talk
in
about
Kelowna always
politics.
tells me that. She goes, you shouldn't bring up uh, religion, politics, or money.
Most important
I was like,
things.
well, I usually bring it all up. I don't have a lot of money. I'm Christian and I'm pretty conservative. Now let's expand on that.
Yeah, exactly.
I always like when people say a certain thing and I question it. And then if they fire back, I'm like, all right, well, tell me why you feel that way? Or where's that information coming from? Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And sometimes people get really heated. And it seems like I do that with my sisters or my family sometimes. It's like, oh, why are you always trying to start a debate with some people? I'm like, well, you guys are on your phones.
Hmm.
I'm trying to get you guys into the conversation. Let's talk about something spicy.
Yeah, exactly.
So, why did you want to start a podcast?
I wanted to start a podcast because I feel like in Canada there is not much representation of the people, and I think that people's voices need to be heard,
Mhm.
and I think the issues need to be talked about because if you shove things under the rug, eventually you can't walk over that rug, and that is exactly where we are right now in this country. Is that not enough people, like citizens, are talking about the issues that are affecting us every day, and I think that it's important to talk about them whether people like to or not, because when you ignore a problem, it typically gets bigger and it gets harder to talk about.
Mhm.
So I think diving into these things helps people feel more relaxed about talking about them.
Yeah.
Like for example, look what's going on in the US with the whole Charlie Kirk thing, not to circle back to it, but more and more people now are aligning under this issue because they can't not talk about it any longer because it's
Mhm.
gotten so big, right?
Yeah.
Basically. So I think that's where a lot of the motivation came from. Was that like the people that I've seen in Canada with podcasts that are, doing decently well, they never really get into the topics too deep.
Yeah.
They kind of go surface level, they show the news clips, but they don't really express any hardline opinion. And I
Mhm.
think we need to just get in there and do that.
Yeah.
So that was a big motivation for me. And honestly, I like talking about them, the issues and topics and
I like talking in
talking
general.
in general. Yeah.
And it's like me and you kind of I'm sure me and you won't agree with everything,
No.
but I like having conversations with people. And I keep on kicking my camera. I love podcasts. I listen to podcasts all the time. I've been
Hmm.
told by a a few dozen people, "Oh, why don't you start a podcast? You'd be great on podcasting." And I was always like, "Man, I don't know. I don't feel like people really want to hear what I have to say." I feel like most people already know where I stand on certain topics or certain issues. But I know there's a lot of people who've maybe never heard of me before. And if they hear me talk about something funny or sad or, political, maybe they'll be like, "Oh, I didn't know.